Hey guys, welcome back to Phal Orchids. Tonight, we take a quick look at the Phalaenopsis mannii, specifically the variation mannii flava. A chat about the manniis in general and what we've experienced this winter with a bit colder temperatures in the apartment and how they've responded. The mannii was described officially in 1871, so it's a quite old orchid in the trade in Reichenbacher here in Germany, and was named after a German orchid collector named Gustav Mann. The mannii is pretty cool. It is like a small orchid, a miniature or a Phalaenopsis, I guess you could say. And it does bloom with the wild species look on the flowers. So, you know, the really thin petals that kind of cup a little bit. And the one drawback that would just look, I want to point out, what we mentioned in our last video, was that this one kind of, the one that's in bloom, it tends to kind of flower at weird angles sometimes. So it sends off these flowers that just kind of look in strange directions, which, you know, it does help if your orchids are in bloom. It does help to kind of keep them facing the same direction once the spike starts growing, so kind of the flowers will all tend to bloom if you're growing indoors and you're using windows and windowsills for light. The flava, you know, denotes a yellow form or a whitish form. In this one, there, you know, this yellow is really cool. It's like this summer, you know, really nice kind of pop of gold in the inner inside garden here. You can see that it has these kind of splotches of darker yellow and gold and green, I guess, spread throughout the sepals and petals. And we love the little white lip on there that's kind of hooked, and it's pretty small, you know, compared to a lot of the big hybrid Phalaenopsis that you see. Of course, with small orchids comes a bit smaller flowers usually, and this is no exception. But they do last for quite a while, so the blooms tend to hang on. The mannii, the standard mannii, has much darker brown splotches on a green background, so it's a bit greener, the background, or light cream, I guess. We did one of our original videos here at El Pilar was on the manniis, and they all started putting on new spikes in January, and they looked really good, and we were super excited that they were coming back. However, they all died. All the spikes died, except this one, the one that's in bloom, was the only mannii out of the 5 that we have of this species that kept its spike and went to flower. So I think, you know, they do say online it's on the, you know, it's warm to cool growing, so they have a bit more versatility in the species. And we have found that some of our other species like Nicoltii and Parishii specifically did not do well with the cold temperatures this winter. They are still growing well vegetatively, but I think they need to be kept a tiny bit warmer in the wintertime. And certainly we're going to start, you know, dialing in on the care for these plants. Spend some time with orchids and you try to learn different types and species and hybrids and different genera even. I mean, there's so many orchids to learn. But you start dialing in on the care, and I think we'll kind of do a bit more on these like drier winters with little fertilizer, and then we'll, you know, keep up the fertilizing schedule, and we maybe we'll water more. About the media, before we water it, really quickly, it is in bark and leca kind of mix with some sphagnum moss in there as well. Not much sphagnum though. And you can see the roots are looking nice and green. It did grow through the winter, nice new roots. So the root growth is good. And yeah, we're happy with how it looks down below. But just to show you how we do water once a week. Through the winter, we were watering once a week. In the summer, we're going to try to water a bit more, but fill up the outer cache pot and until it's almost at the top. Now this one, It doesn't matter if the top gets completely, sometimes I overfill it and it spills on the table. But you can see like the water is like right there spilling out. So, and then I let it sit for 15 minutes or so, sometimes longer, if I think maybe it needs more of a drink. This summer we'll probably not soak as long and we'll probably do shorter waterings but more frequently, just to keep it more moist. And then in the winter we will cut back on the watering, just yeah, because I think maybe they don't need to be as wet in the winter time. We'll see. We'll experiment with different ones, but we do the regular. All the mannii we water the same way, so just fill up the outer cache pot, and yeah, if there's any pieces of moss, I try to get those a little bit soaking up some water. And yeah, let them sit for a while. So on the easometer, I would say these guys are probably around a 3 maybe, because in the winter you might have to give them a little bit more of a bit care, but generally they're, as far as species go, they're pretty easy. They have a really cool look that adds some difference to the garden. They're small, so they're very manageable, and we have them in these, I don't know what they are, 7-8 centimeter pots. um, yeah. Well, thanks for checking in, guys, and we will see you back here at Upilar soon. Have a good one.